everybody, welcome back to another speed paint. This time around we're gonna be looking at a commissioned speed paint. I hope that you guys enjoyed the Tanabata one that I posted about a couple of weeks ago, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this one too. So let me get right into it, because this was a really strange but also really fun project to work with. And I think for the first time in the channel, we're gonna see how this whole thing happened from like sketch all the way to like finished product. So yay! You will see how much I struggled. By the way, this is also not scripted. My family's not here, so I'm just like sitting in the studio doing this thing as I'm watching the speed paint again. Hi, this is future Diana, or past Diana at this point. Recording this on Labor Day, so hello from Labor Day weekend. Anyway, let me explain my process here. I had sent the commissioner a like really quick thumbnail sketch to see what pose he wanted for his commission, so he picked this one. And when I got back from my trip, because this commission happened while I was out vacationing, well, when I came back from the trip, I grabbed my Bodhi-chan and Bodhi-kun little action figure mannequin situations to like get the pose right, because like I sort of knew what the pose was going to be, but then I just couldn't figure out the whole dynamic of like the hand positions, so I tried to work on everything else around it, and kind of like get the musculature right and just like the pose and the interaction and stuff, because even though it's not like a super dynamic picture, there's a lot of feeling to it apparently, which I'm shook, because I want that to be part of my art now, with just having that like emotional connection and stuff like that. So thank you for telling me that, Commissioner. And just to sort of quickly explain, this is ship fan art of Zelda and Ganondorf, which took me by surprise when my commissioner told me about. I will link most of the stuff that I will talk about in the description, mainly my commissioner's fanfiction. It's really good. I've only read the first 2 chapters, and oh my god. If you have played The Legend of Zelda, or like are into it now because of Tears of the Kingdom, and because you're like you want to explore the rest of the history and lore of Zelda through gameplay, this fanfiction will hit you hard. Again, I've only read 2 chapters of the fanfiction. He's still putting out more, so this is like the unpaid advertisement. Go read his shit. It's really, really good. Even I am like, oh, I am looking. I am side-eyeing, but I'm looking. And the process was really fun to just go around it and like create the piece. He was really good as a commissioner in communicating what he wanted and like what his general vibe was, but he also was really cool with me like taking some liberties and creative decisions about the commission. So he sort of like gave me a basic description of what his original Zelda looks like, and also like what the vibe is with Ganondorf as well. We made him beefy because we love beefy men in this household apparently. So like he gave me the description, and on Zelda's outfit we based it off on Skyward Sword, Zelda's like goddess garb that she has. And on some of the sketching, like you'll see that I like shaded parts of the dress, because that helps me visualize what parts of the dress is gonna be skin and what part isn't gonna be fabric, or is gonna be fabric. You'll see, it makes sense. I have a method to my madness. And for Ganondorf, we decided to go with the Gerudo folk armor. I think it's the Vo outfit in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I could be wrong. But we like went back and forth on like the design and like the vibe and everything. And once we like settled down on like what the visuals will look like, that's when I started like working on placing the clothes on top of them. It was really fun having to like pull my Hyrule Encyclopedia, Hyrule Compendium, and Hyrule Historia to just get the vibe of like what Zelda we're talking about, what hairstyle, what clothes. Like it was nice like doing the character design for this one. I had a lot of fun, and plus it was a couple months since I like pulled out those books to just look at it, so it was nice having like 3 books on my desk, or on one of my two desks, for reference, flipping back and forth on the elements, sketching, going back to the commissioner. You know, it was like an intense process, but it was really nice because he was impeccable as a customer with communicating, getting excited about the project, giving okays whenever I sent out updates to him, and it was just fun. So once I like got all the sketch down and I got the approval, I did my line art, and luckily, God bless Clip Studio and all its assets, I found a hand that would work. I just know that the arm looks a little weird, but at that point I was just like, fuck it, I need to like get going on this because otherwise it's not gonna happen, since I knew that August would be really busy for me in terms of like my day job. So I knew that if I could get the sketch and the line art done beforehand, then the coloring would be really, really quick, since I don't have to finesse with the details anymore. So we did that. And then here you'll see me kind of like swatching to see if that was like the general color atmosphere that he wanted for the characters, because I wasn't really sure about like the lighting, or if they wanted a background or something of the sort, and just to make sure that I understood the description that they gave me was on point, because they said that in their head for the fanfiction, and they do go into details in the fanfiction, I haven't gotten to that part yet, but they said that this Zelda is not blonde per se, but has like silver hair. So I was like, oh my god, silver hair on Zelda wig, iconic. So we tried to do that. So I just wanted to make sure that I got like the right kind of temperature color for her hair, because again, silver color is kind of like difficult to paint and render, just because it's like a lot of contrast from like the hair itself, because silver is like this really weird in between color where it's all about like the not the highlights, but like the contrast between your midtones and like the dark colors of the shadow, just to make sure that it looks shiny and like silver. It's sort of like doing dirty blonde, but like muted. I don't know if that makes any sense, but you'll see how it ended up being. And for Ganon as well, like, because he's Gerudo, and the weird thing about it that I like noticed while I was like looking up references just for Ganon to see what kind of vibe or what kind of elements from his many designs throughout the years, what that would look like, it turns out that Ganon has like normal human ears, and I was like baffled by that discovery, because I'm like, what the fuck, like, are Gerudo not Hylian? I mean, they wouldn't be, but like in my head, like Hylians or anybody that looks like a human will have pointy ears, but no, the Gerudo have normal human ears, which threw me off because I've never noticed. So I was like, okay, and because they're in the desert and like because all the melanin and just like the vibes and the like the references that they pulled into those designs, I wasn't sure if he wanted them to be tan, like Hispanic tan, like my tan, or if it was gonna be like more leaning towards like Middle Eastern or black, or you know, like that sort of thing. So I had to like go back and forth with him to see like, is this fine? Is this what that feels for you? Blah blah blah. So like it went fine. He really liked how I ended up doing the colors, and like he was like dying over how soft the expression was between Zelda giving him like a really snarky, cocky, kind of bratty, snobby look, while him is like being soft but also like amused but also very terrified. I don't know. Apparently I hit the nail right on the head without even realizing the fanfiction, the power that I hold. Oh my god. Yeah, so like I went back and forth between like just getting the colors right, getting everything right, and every time that I would approach Arky, my commissioner, he would just like start getting like super hyped up about it. And the cute thing about this commission is that he commissioned this one for his fanfiction and two because it's gonna be a gift to his partner. So I do hope that the partner gets to see this video and gush about the birthday present because it's super cute. So happy birthday present! Happy birthday! Bilingualism, I tell you. In the end, I did end up doing some of shading, and I tried to like keep it softer this time around just to match with what was going on with Zelda's dress. So just kind of like try to like keep it saturated but not too saturated, because we decided that the source light was going to be like behind them or like somewhere in the middle, so the shadows were interesting. I think it's a lot easier to render and give depth and warmth to light skin characters just because it's easier to see the range of colors, while you're tan or just somewhat of melanin, it's a little bit difficult because I don't want them to be too dark where it looks flat, but I also don't want to be disrespectful. So there was this fine dance of like putting a little bit of a shadow, buffing that out, blending, airbrushing it just a little bit, making sure that it looks okay, but also there's a transparency and warmth to it. And same thing with the highlights. I didn't want to do too many highlights here because I still haven't figured out how the highlights would work. I've yet to do studies for that skin range tone, but yeah, so like we got most of it done, and here's another first time thing for the channel. I finally discovered where the screen recording thing is on my iPad, so I'm including some in real life footage of how slow my work is sometimes. And you'll see that on the corner I am watching a playthrough of a visual novel that I'm really into right now, which is called Slow Damage. And again, this is completely irrelevant to the commission, but sometimes from work, like I come back from work and I'm exhausted, right? So I eat, I take a shower and stuff, and sometimes I just don't want to sit at a desk because my day job includes being at a desk almost all the time. If I'm not taking care of schools that are visiting the museum, or you know, being out and about, like I'm in front of a desk all the time. So by the time I get home, I'm worn out. I'm kind of like on my last little leg, and like sometimes I just want to lay down, you know. And having the iPad works really good in my favor, because I can like lay down, get cozy, and just start working a little bit. Granted, it's not perfect because my iPad is really old, and also like the stylus that I'm using to make the iPad work isn't 100% calibrated or accurate to the iPad because it's an off-brand like Apple Pencil. So that one takes away the pressure points or the pressure sensitivity, because again the iPad is really old, so it doesn't have that, and two, like the stylus is not super accurate, so I don't always get the most accurate marks, which like annoys the hell out of me. But at least I can work on the flats, because it's just like, here's a wash of just uniform color and just reduce your brush size so you can clean up the edges and just have a good time at slowly chipping away at stuff. So if I take a really long time on getting a drawing done, this is why. Yes, I do have an iPad, and yes, I'm looking into getting a Cintiq at some point, or just upgrading both like my tools just to keep up, to have a little bit more comfort. But for right now, this is what's making things happen. This is what I'm working with to just make things do. And again, if you haven't been around the channel for too long, hi, I'm Diana. I work at a museum as my day job, and in my off time I do art and play video games and talk to people that I like. So if you like what you see, or like the process of everything, please consider giving me a follow on any of my social medias, or possibly just YouTube, whatever floats your boat. But usually I take a really long time to just get something out just because of my schedule, but I do pride myself in like being able to take it slow a little bit, because it does take time for things to look good. So yeah, so here in my process earlier in the video, you'll see that I did like a gray wash, and then I did the swatches, and then I did like the just the uniform color, and then I just started like erasing outside of the lines. For me, in my head, it's just easier to just be really, really messy on the first go, and then like clean up and fuss around my edges, because it's just less stress. And that's just something I picked up doing art school when we were doing draftsmanship and drawing studies with Lauren. God bless Lauren. I hope she is doing good with her family. I love her. I miss her. I haven't talked to her. I might see her sometime this winter, maybe. I don't know. I'll go visit them at some point. Anyway, I digress. Essentially what she told us was that it's just easier to fuss around your edges after you've done most of the work, because we were working on graphite and charcoal drawings for the still life that we were doing. And it just stuck to me. She was like, oh, you can be as messy as you want, but when you start to refine things, it's easier to refine your content or like your subject in the lines. But if you go out of the lines, it's just gonna be a little bit harder for you to stay within those bounds. So just be messy, do all the refining work and rendering that you need to at the very start of the process, and then at the very end, just fuss with your edges and just clean them up as much as you need to. But worry about cleaning up your edges afterwards, not during, because otherwise you're gonna start stressing about like being within the lines. So it just kind of stuck, and I just applied that to my digital painting, where I could just do a really messy like flat color, get that shit in there, get it all fixed and cleaned up, and then afterwards I start rendering within the bounds of the flat lines, because at that point, like, most of the colors there is just making details, and if I need to add shadows or more details, I can always just do that as a clipping mask or like a different layer on top of it, and that just gets it all situated and ready to go. Anyway, that's basically my process. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and this commission and seeing me how I actually work. I'm trying to add a little bit more stuff like this to the channel. I want to say a huge thank you to my patrons and to my supporters and commissioners. You can find all the links in the doobly-doo down below, and I will definitely see you in the next one. Bye, you guys.